The final regular season college football playoff rankings are to be revealed on Tuesday night. What will be unveiled? We will make our predictions here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. And keep in mind that we will be here as the selections are being unveiled on Tuesday night. Join the best live chat in college football. Give me a call as well on Tuesday night. Let's first look back at the rankings going into the final weekend of the regular season, where they stood, and then the key games that will move teams up and down. Through 11 games played, Ohio State number 1, Indiana number 2, of course Texas A&M fell to Texas 27-17, and therefore they dropped from the ranks of the unbeaten at 11-1. Georgia defeated Georgia Tech by a touchdown. Texas Tech blew out West Virginia. Oregon at number 6, of course, had made that leap past Ole Miss the previous week in defeating USC. Oregon gets a 12-point win against Washington. Ole Miss defeats Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl 38-19. Oklahoma with a bit of an ugly win against a previously 7-4 LSU team, 17-13. Notre Dame in the top 10 at number 9. They annihilated Stanford. And the University of Alabama in the Iron Bowl got by Auburn. Very fortunate to do so as the Auburn Tigers were driving for the game-tying touchdown in the final minute. Alabama hangs on 27-20. That was the top 10. So to be addressed would, of course, be Texas A&M's fall from number 3. How far is that going to go? They were playing on the road. They were playing Texas, a roughly top 15 team in the country that is well respected by the committee. From a talent standpoint, of course, Texas A&M loses by double digits. Of course, Texas A&M's resume within the SEC is not impressive, as they were given the bottom teams in the conference, but they did win at Notre Dame in Week 3. BYU, previously number 11, came back from 14 down to defeat UCF by 20. Miami with a huge win against Pitt. So the committee has this to take into account, that Miami defeated Pitt 38-7 on the road. Notre Dame just a few weeks earlier defeated Pitt 37-15. If you watch the two games, basically they were both annihilations. If anything, you would have to rate the Notre Dame win to be more impressive from a dominant standpoint, even though Miami won by 31 and Notre Dame won by 22. To be fair, they were both dominant wins, and that Pitt team was ranked against Miami going into the game at 8-3, coming off a win against Georgia Tech that put them in play for the ACC championship game. So Miami with an impressive win against a ranked team, followed by Utah with an unimpressive win against Kansas by 10 points, and the Utes are number 13 going into the final regular season ranking. Vandy impressively breaks a 21-all tie at halftime against Tennessee on the road in Knoxville. Tough place to play. Vandy outscores the Vols 24-3 in the second half to win going away. Impressive win by Vandy. Of course, Michigan no longer a factor after they lose to Ohio State at home 27-9 to be 9-3. Texas now 9-3 with a win against Texas A&M. How high will they go? USC completes its season over UCLA 29-10. They are not a factor at 9-3. Virginia is a factor. They go to the ACC championship game after they win by 20 against Virginia Tech. So their ranking, in fact, is null and void. It does not matter. Virginia needs to win the ACC championship game. They are in despite the ranking. They will be left out as a 10-3 team if they lose the ACC championship game. Basically, the teams that we are talking about now are important from the standpoint of how they impact other teams' resumes up the ranks. So Tennessee finishes at 8-4. Arizona State at 8-4 after they lose their rivalry game to Arizona. SMU also went down with a chance to get to the ACC championship game, so their playoff hopes were killed and crushed on the final missed field goal at the gun at Cal. SMU at 8-4. There's Pitt, the aforementioned team that lost to both Notre Dame and Miami in emphatic fashion. Georgia Tech gave Georgia a fight At Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they lose the game by a touchdown. They threw a Hail Mary into the end zone at the end of the game. They fall to 9-3. Tulane, of course, gets an important win to move on to the conference championship game against North Texas. They are now 10-2 after defeating Charlotte, and Arizona is now 9-3 after defeating Arizona State in the Territorial Cup. Now let's check out what the committee is going to unveil on Tuesday night. This is my prediction of their rankings. This is not what I believe it should be. So this is my prediction on the committee's rankings, and we'll highlight some of the pain points here for the committee. The first one's with Texas A&M. How far will they fall? They probably have the worst resume of any 11-1 team between the SEC and the Big Ten. Still stronger than BYU. You would think that would be the committee's evaluation of Texas A&M playing a competitive game, certainly and leading the most of the way against Texas. Also, we've got a situation where Oklahoma won ugly. Will Texas A&M, though, fall behind Oklahoma? So despite the one-game gap at 10-2 versus Texas A&M's 11-1, will that loss drop Texas A&M behind Oklahoma? I do believe that if the Sooners would have been impressive against LSU, maybe the Aggies would have fallen to number 8. But as it stands, with Oklahoma's 17-13 win against LSU at home, they stay at number 8. Next pain point, decision to be made, Alabama and Miami. Alabama struggled at Auburn. Auburn, record-wise, not a good football team at 5-7. However, Auburn has played some excellent teams to the wire. Auburn is difficult to play at home, and the committee is probably going to view this as a difficult rivalry game that is almost always fought to the finish, and not going to penalize Alabama much for this. And Alabama was already ranked behind Notre Dame, both teams at 10-2. But will the committee look at the Alabama loss against Auburn, and will they penalize Alabama for struggling with Auburn? Miami impressively defeated Pitt. So if you just look at on the surface, Alabama struggled to win against a 5-7 football team. Miami dominated an 8-4 football team on the road, 38-7. So does that lift Miami past Alabama with both teams at 10-2? But Bama still has the better resume, and I believe the committee is going to keep it right there at Alabama number 10. Miami eclipsing BYU despite one more loss. That BYU was not impressive despite winning by 20 against UCF, and Miami was against what was a ranked team by the committee. So we've got Miami moving up to number 11, BYU at 12. Again, this is our prediction of what the committee's going to do. What to do with Texas? They beat number 3 Texas A&M at home by 10. That was an impressive win by Texas. They still have the Florida loss weighing them down. They are still going to be the highest ranked 9-3 team on the table. Texas defeated Vandy head-to-head 34-31. I believe the committee's going to rank Texas at number 13, despite Vanderbilt's impressive win against Tennessee on the road by 3 touchdowns. Utah slides to number 15. USC is a selection over Virginia, I believe, with a 9-3 record versus Virginia's 10-2. And really, once again, the rest of the rankings do not matter except for the resume that they provide for everyone else, except for the group of 5 teams. Tulane was already ranked. They won in shutout fashion against a bad Charlotte team. I've got them at number 20 in regards to my prediction for the committee's unveiling on Tuesday night. In terms of my own ranking, check out the top 25 that actually makes sense. I've got Tulane at number 22. Iowa at number 23, probably the most impressive 8-4 team. I actually have the Hawkeyes ranked ahead of Tennessee. However, the committee has consistently underranked Iowa, I believe, with the Nebraska win by 24 points. And the losses just on down the line, SMU, Pitt, and other teams losing in the back half of the top 25 from last week, that Iowa will sneak in at number 23. Then I've got the 2 one-loss teams in the group of 5, James Madison at 24, North Texas at 25. And once again, these are not my rankings. You can check out my top 25 that actually makes sense. This is what I believe the committee will unveil on Tuesday night. So we march on to championship weekend here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please join us each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the College Football Show, 10 p.m. Eastern Time or post-game right here at the Voice of College Football.